More Than Words with Wendy Damanari.
I'm sure we've all had these tricky questions asked of us, and we sort of perhaps feel as if, they're trying to, get us. And but, really what they're after, it's not just about answering the question. They're really testing us on other things and some interesting things that you might be surprised about. So let me give you some examples of some tricky questions. You might have even come across them yourself. So one of the questions that often gets asked is, tell me about a time you failed and how you handled it. Have you ever been asked that question before?
I absolutely have, Wendy. I think I've been asked that question to get this job I have now with the ABC.
Yeah, and did that floor you, or were you sort of a little bit like stunned, or were you prepared for that question?
Yes, it's almost a test of nerves in it, isn't it, when they throw something like that at you, because you really have to knuckle down and think about a time, use the example, and then still sell yourself while you're talking about your failure.
Yeah, that's right.
Tricky ask, isn't it?
It is tricky. In fact, what they're getting at with this type of question is that they're asking you to think about a setback or a challenge you had where, things didn't go well and where you actually made a mess of it and you failed. What they're looking at is your ability to bounce back and your resilience. So that's what that's all about.
I see.
Okay, yeah. So I guess in those situations, be honest. Don't say, oh, I've never failed. I've never had a problem. So be honest. Describe the steps that you took to address the failure or the problem. And the key thing here is to emphasize the lessons that you learned and the improvements that you made from that. Here's another one. How do you handle working with difficult or challenging co-workers like our Susan? No, I'm joking. She's wonderful. Yeah. So how do you handle Susan?
I'm already freezing up. You see, this is the problem with those job interviews. Is you've just got to keep your cool and
you do
be prepared, which is what you're helping us do here today.
Yeah, that's right.
So, talking about navigating difficult workplace relationships, how do we do it?
Yeah, well, I think, everyone has had this problem. I don't think anybody is immune from, having to deal with difficult co-workers. So what this question is asking you, it's testing your interpersonal skills and your ability to navigate conflicts. And because, we'll all face them at some point in our working life. You can't avoid them. So they want to see, how are you someone that buries your head in the sand? Do you respond aggressively? So they're looking to see how you dealt with that situation, the strategies that you used, highlight, your professionalism, your ability to remain cool under pressure, and to be able to collaborate and be a team member, I think.
What about when you're asked to talk about your successes? I know people have a bit of difficulty talking about positive parts of their job.
Yeah, now this is interesting because I think you're right. I think we don't have a problem talking about the things that we've stuffed up or, we're not good at. We're pretty good at, criticising ourselves. But a lot of people are not good at blowing their own trumpet or promoting or talking about their successes. And it is really important that we can do that. This is not the time to be shy, to, be a little sort of a timid wallflower about it. Be proud, that you have achieved things. Get it out there. You don't have to speak in a boastful way, but you can be proud of what you've done, because what you're showing them is the things that you have achieved, and they want to hear that, and everybody needs to hear that, because you're there. You could help other people with the things that you've done. Yeah.
Would you say communication is one of the most crucial roles in selling yourself in a job interview? We talk about worker shortages and job shortages and employment. What is about communication that makes it so key to getting over the line in these interviews?
Well, they say that it is the number one skill that employees look for, because you know what? Employers can teach you the technical side of a job. They can teach anybody that. just about. But often they can't teach communication skills. They can't do that. These skills are so important in developing good teams, collaboration, getting ahead, helping the company, the firm that you're working for get ahead, and yourself as well. So they're absolutely vital. It's sort of the oil or the grease that keeps things moving, basically.
What are some other real sort of challenging questions that you hear?
Some challenging questions. So talk about a time when you had to make a decision and it was really difficult and you had limited information. So that's another key thing is talking about people's problem-solving skills and your ability to think outside the box and apply very sort of like critical and creative problem-solving skills. They don't want people who can just come in and do things and then fall apart the minute, a problem comes up. If you can show that you've got some really good problem-solving skills, that you're not going to be part of the problem, you're going to be part of the solution, then that's what employers are looking for. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any others?
Oh, I got a couple more for you.
Right.
One of the sort of typical questions that they usually ask is, think of a time where you had a difficult customer-client situation and how you resolve that. Because, so often we do have difficult moments when we're dealing with customers and clients. So this is, again, all about your problem-solving abilities, but also about your interpersonal skills and your communication skills, how you dealt with that challenging interaction, how you manage their complaints and their concerns, and maybe how you sort of stayed upbeat and positive as well too.
Yeah, it's important to note the underlining meaning to some of these questions because they are loaded in a way that helps the employer find out more about you.
It's not the question itself. It goes much deeper than that. It's what they're trying to find out about you as a person and as a potential employee. So finally, I just say, stay calm, stay cool, take a deep breath, treat every experience as a learning opportunity. You may not get that job, but you will walk away having learnt something about job interviews and quite a lot about yourself as well too.